Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Luna Whisperer, who says, "Am I the arsehole for dropping out of my sister's wedding after accidentally overhearing what she really thinks of me? Am I the arsehole for dropping out of my sister's wedding after accidentally overhearing what she really thinks of me? I, 29 female, have a younger sister, Layla, 26 female, who got engaged 6 months ago. And when she said she couldn't afford an engagement party, I ended up paying £4,200 for the entire thing. Venue, catering, decorations, everything. And she promised to pay me back, but never mentioned it again. 2 weeks later, she asked me to be a maid of honor, and I was so happy I immediately said yes and started planning everything. And last week I was on a video call with our mum when Layla walked in, not knowing I could hear. And I heard her tell mum that her best friend Sophie was supposed to be maid of honor, but backed out because she's pregnant and exhausted. And then Layla said, I had to ask my name instead. At least she's already paid for everything, so she'll just keep going along with whatever I need. I sat on mute, not moving for a full minute. Then my aunt told Layla had been telling her fiance's entire family that I volunteered to pay for the party as a gift. So now this whole family thinks I'm this generous, selfless sister, when in reality I'm just a backup plan she picked because I'm easy to control and I'm still waiting to be paid back £4,200. I called her and told her I was stepping down as maid of honor, and she cried and said I was ruining her wedding. And now mum is furious, and my dad hasn't spoken to me in 3 days, and everyone is acting like I'm the villain for refusing to smile and stand next to someone who only sees me as an ATM with legs. I was on mute, not deaf. Am I the arsehole?" Layla's a bloody cheeky so-and-so, isn't she? Imagine taking £4,200 from your own sister for an engagement party, actually promising to pay her back, and then telling people she volunteered as a gift, and then on top of that admitting she only made her maid of honor because of her first choice dipped. And don't get me wrong, the money is bad enough, but it's the disrespect in this. This is like your sister and you're treating her this way. Most people would want their sibling there because they love them and they want them there on their big day. And it's just shocking that the family is turning this on OP at the same time. If they knew the full details and they're still coming out with this bullshit, and I know it's a big statement to make on family and we don't know the full ins and outs of it, but why do you want people like this in your life, honestly? Commenter says, if your parents feel that way, tell them they can repay you. You'll go back to being maid of honor and offer nothing but emotional support from there on out. No money. Opie says that is genius. 4,200 and suddenly everyone's loyalty gets very clear very fast. The commenter says, not the arsehole, I would have told her that I heard everything she said. I wouldn't just say I heard everything, I'd repeat it to her. She's playing the victim now. It's harder to play the victim when you hear your own words repeated back to you. I have no problem being the second choice, but the fact that she sees you as a cash cow is disgusting. OP says, I actually did repeat her exact words back to her. At least she's already paid for everything, so she'll just keep going along with whatever I need. The silence on her end said everything. She didn't deny it, didn't apologize, just started crying. And you're so right. The second choice part I could have lived with. It was the cash cow part that broke something in me. Commenter says, I'll tell her fiance the truth about the money paid for the party. You can probably write it off now because she had no intention of paying you back, but exposing her lies with the truth is the right thing to do. I wouldn't be going to the wedding either. As for your parents, I would send them an email. For record keeping, explaining the entire situation, and tell them if they have issues with the situation they can look at the mirror and see the people responsible for raising their daughter to be that way. As for your mum, she wasn't going to say anything to you either, so there is that. Also cancel anything you have prepaid to get your money back. Any other plans made, cancel those too. Use the money you would have paid to give yourself a nice vacation the day your sister gets married. OP says the vacation idea actually made me laugh for the first time in days. And you're right, cancel everything, get back whatever I can, and let her figure out the rest. The email to my parents is smart too. No phone call, no argument, just facts in writing so nobody can claim they misunderstood or misheard. As for her fiancé, he deserves to know who he is marrying. Oh shit, sounds like OP's going full blast. Warrior says not the arsehole and immediately set up a repayment plan for your grifter. Sister. Inform her that if she doesn't pay you back, you will be pursuing legal action to recover the funds. With a family like yours, it's better to go scorched earth and then no contact. Opie says legal action crossed my mind already. Text in writing saying pay me back or I take this further. Suddenly it is not about feelings anymore. It is about facts and money. She cannot cry her way out of a paper trail. So Opie comes in with her first update and says, I did not expect so many of you to respond, and I've read through so many comments. Thank you genuinely. Strangers on the internet have shown me more kindness in one day than my own family has in years, and that says everything. Here's what happened since I posted. I screenshotted every single message where Layla acknowledged the £4,200 as a loan. 3 texts from her saying she would pay me back, saved in 3 different places now. I sent my parents a calm, factual email. No emotions, no dramatics, just a timeline. The engagement party cost, the loan agreement, what I heard on that call, word for word. What she told his family. I told them I love them, that I will not apologize for removing myself from a situation where I was being used. No reply yet. I've cancelled every booking I made as maid of honor and got back what I could. The rest is a lesson. I've not contacted her fiancé yet, but I'm not ruling it out. He deserved to know the $4,200 was never a gift. Still sitting with that one. I will not be attending the wedding. I will not be sending a gift. I'll be booking a trip somewhere I've never been with the money I would have spent on a Hindu deposit. To everyone who said chosen family is realer than blood, I'm starting to understand that now. I was on mute, not deaf, and now I'm done being silent too. We'll update again if anything happens with the email or the fiancé situation. So Opie comes in with one more update, what was titled as their final update, and says, I know so many of you have been waiting. Here it is. The wedding happened last Wednesday. I was not there. I was on a train to Edinburgh, watching the countryside go past with a coffee in my hand, and for the first time in as long as I can remember, I felt nothing except peace. I contacted her fiancé a few days after my last update. I kept it short and factual. The $4,200 was a loan, not a gift, and I had messages to prove it. I told him exactly what I heard on that call, word for word. No drama, just facts. He replied with one line, I appreciate you telling me. They got married anyway. That is his choice and I respect it. My parents called after my email. My mum said, why do you always make everything so difficult? My dad said, she is your sister. Neither acknowledged the loan. Neither apologized. I told them I love them and hung up. My sister transferred £2,000 4 days before the wedding. No message, no sorry, just a transfer. The remaining $2,200 she says she will pay when she can. I've given her a written deadline. After that, it goes to small claims. The texts are saved. She's not contacted me since the wedding. Not once. I got back from Edinburgh this morning. Still have my train ticket in my coat pocket. I visited a bookshop I had wanted to see for years. I ate dinner alone every night and ordered dessert without asking anyone if they wanted to share. I slept 8 hours every single night. I did not cry once. But I'm okay. More than okay. I was on mute, not deaf, and now I'm finally loud enough for myself. This is my last update. Thank you all for everything. And whilst it's incredibly sad having to deal with your family like that, I think most people in the comments were happy for OP that they got some peace for themselves. They're getting their money back and they're seeing their family's true colors in the end, which is brutal. It has to be brutal, but also hopefully something that changes OP's life for the better going forward because they know the reality now. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now our next story comes from Who Am I? What Is This? And says, am I the arsehole here for walking out on a dinner with my husband's sister and her boyfriend? So my 34 female husband, 32 male, is the youngest in his family. We've been married for a little less than a year now, but I noticed his elder sister, 37 female, is super difficult and controlling. My husband has warned me about her. Let's call her H, ever since we met. And he was even super nervous before he introduced me to her. I made sure to be super nice and courteous, and we hit it off, especially that we realized we know a lot of the same people from our similar field of work. Over time, I noticed H's toxic behavior with her siblings, especially with my husband since he's extremely peaceful and non-confrontational. She would disrespect him a lot, give it unsolicited commands. She even keeps commenting about how much attention he gives me and how she thinks we're super codependent and that he needs to give me less attention. Lol. We're not codependent at all, we just really enjoy hanging out with each other and prefer doing things together. Yesterday, H and her boyfriend were visiting. She lives in another country, and she wanted us all to meet him for the first time. My husband was with them by himself for an hour or so, and while his brother, his wife, and I were on the way to meet them, my husband kept texting me saying he felt like a third wheel and they weren't really involving him in the conversation. We finally get there and we meet them and we're deciding where to have dinner. We quickly notice how chaotic H was acting, ordering us around to call restaurants and check for bookings, to go this way or that way, to hurry up because it was late and we needed to eat. My husband, H, and boyfriend and I were sharing a car, and my husband was driving to the restaurant. We were chatting and it was normal, until H decided to make fun of my husband and his slow driving and kept being super annoying to hurry up and drive faster. She even kept interrupting her boyfriend when he was telling stories to tell my husband to hurry up. Then when the brother and his wife called to say they arrived, and we still had 15 minutes to get there, H went full-blown bully. Kept disrespecting my husband in front of the boyfriend, and my husband was trying his best to bite his tongue. It was so obvious that we all got so uncomfortable, especially the boyfriend who kept saying, "It's okay guys that we're taking longer, we're enjoying the conversation." The last straw for me was when we got to the area and it was so crowded and my husband was trying to make a U-turn to get to the restaurant, and H told him to stop here so she and her boyfriend can get out and walk to the restaurant before we go and find parking, and my husband couldn't stop because there were cars moving all around. She threw a tantrum and kept berating my husband for not being able to stop on the spot when she wanted him to. It ruined the whole mood. Eventually my husband stopped a little further down the road and they stepped out. I was so upset and almost tearful walking into the restaurant, and my husband kept calming me down saying it doesn't matter and he doesn't care what she says. I told him she ruined our mood by being disrespectful and I'm not going to mask being happy so she can have a fun night. We sit at the table and we were obviously in a bad mood, and H turns to my husband and says, "You guys okay?" And he says yes, we're just tired and hungry. She noticed how I'm not engaging in the conversation at all, and she turns to my husband again and says, "If you guys don't want to be here, no one is forcing you, you can leave. We came here to have a good time." I turn to her and say, "What did you say to my husband?" She says, "I was telling him how if you guys don't want to be here, I don't want to force you. You can leave." And I say, personally, yes, I don't want to be here and I will leave. My husband then says to the group, "Okay guys, we're heading out. Enjoy the rest of the dinner. It was a pleasure meeting you, boyfriend." And we walk out. My husband agrees with me that she was out of line, but hates being in any kind of conflict and is stressed out about the situation. I feel like setting boundaries is very important, even if it means having to be in a fight or whatever. Was I the arsehole for instigating walking out and causing a rift between my husband and his sister and making her look bad in front of her boyfriend? I wonder how long OP's husband has been dealing with that kind of behavior from the sister. It feels like it's one of those ones where it's been years where he's been treating him like a punching bag and everyone's just sort of learned to put up with it because he's non-confrontational. And the boyfriend was even getting uncomfortable in this, trying to calm things down. And he had only just met everyone, and if a complete outsider can see the problem immediately, it says a lot, doesn't it? And I'm glad that OP did speak up. In some ways, I was hoping she was going to say more, because at some point, someone has to say enough is enough. What is this person actually bringing to your life? The husband's walking on eggshells around her constantly. That can't be comfortable. Why would you want that? A commenter says to OP, "Not the arsehole. She will never see or understand how she makes other people feel. I hope you and your husband can do everything to minimize contact with her for your own good." OP says, "When we spoke after, I told my husband that I can't keep tolerating how she treats you without putting a stop to it. I told him that next time she treats you with disrespect, we need to remove ourselves from the situation until she learns that she can't have a relationship with us if she's disrespectful to any of us." Commenter says, "I also feel bad for the boyfriend, what he sees in her. Also, you guys need to cut her out of your life. She's a crazy bee who thinks the world revolves around her. Just don't become her doormat and tell her who is boss in this city. You're not her servants. You have your own life, and tell your husband to get a spine. It is time to stand up for himself and for the both of us. His respect is your respect. Tell him you didn't want anything to do with his sister who didn't respect other people's wishes." OP says, "My husband will never agree to cutting out his own family. My husband is a very peaceful human being, so he literally prioritizes keeping a relationship with his sister over respecting his own boundaries. I'm trying to navigate this without crossing any lines." Commenter says, "You definitely did the right thing, OP. Your husband definitely needs to stand up for himself though. I'm sure there's some repressed shit going on, and he's obviously had to deal with his overbearing sister his entire life. But being in his mid-30s, he's got to stop being a doormat and draw boundaries. Sounds like his sis has never been challenged on her attitude, which is why she so easily pops off to everyone, but it's never too late to start. Opie says, yeah, I empathize with my husband because I know the history. But I still cut off my own mother last year because she's a narcissist that wouldn't change. If he wants to keep a relationship with his sister, it needs to be respectful, or this is just toxic as hell. Another commenter says, you didn't make her look bad. She did that on her own. Wonder how long the boyfriend will put up with her since he tried to ease the tension in the car when he said the slow drive gave them more time for conversation. Bet he's going to walk. Personally, I'd been much more honest and told her she ruined that drive and dinner with her terrible behavior. If she calls, texts, etc., I'd just take my time responding, if I even respond. Time to slowly pull away until she gets the message that she messed up. Low, contact her. So OP did come in with her update and says, so around a week ago I posted here about my 34's husband, 32 male, sister H, 36 female. I wanted to get an outside perspective on her behavior and if I'm valid for walking out on dinner where she was introducing her new boyfriend to us because she's been extremely rude to my husband and I. Then shared the link to the original post. Everyone told me that I had a right to walk out and she was being extremely rude, which made me feel sane because sometimes I feel like I'm crazy with my reactions to very obvious instances of disrespect that the whole family seems to brush off. Anyway, so after the incident, I talked to my husband and told him that I will not tolerate disrespect from H, and what she did was extremely out of line. I also told him that it is extremely upsetting when she disrespects him, and while I understand his stance on being the bigger person, a line needs to be drawn with her. He agreed and said he will talk to her. Next day, they had a day planned with a boyfriend, which I thankfully apologized from before this whole thing happened. My husband's brother, Jay, called in before the outing and we all discussed what happened. Jay tried to explain how H doesn't have bad intentions, etc. And I told him that I never said H was malicious. I just think as adults, when someone is disrespectful, the bare minimum is to acknowledge and apologize. After a long back and forth, they agreed that Jay will ask H to have a conversation about what happened with Jay present before going to their thing. And I told them I don't think I should be a part of this conversation since I'm not part of the family and I personally wouldn't want to initiate the conversation with her. When I saw my husband after, he told me the conversation went very well and that she was super receptive and empathetic. She apologized to my husband and she told him she was very worried that I judged her negatively based on this incident. My husband told her that you can talk to her about it. She is a very understanding and empathetic person and will hear you out. I was happy for my husband, but very skeptical. Honestly speaking, and knowing how narcissists think, she only apologized to my husband and acted understanding because she didn't want me to judge her further. Anyway, so I told my husband, of course, she can talk to me anytime. I waited and waited, and she never reached out. Lol. My husband hinted at me initiating, and I freaked out on him, telling him, in what world does it make sense for me to initiate this talk? If she has a pride problem, then it's her problem. Fast forward to yesterday, which was her last day. After a long day at work, where I finished at 7:30 p.m, my husband tells me they're having a family dinner at their parents' at 8 p.m. to say goodbye to H. I told him that I don't have the mental capacity for that right now, especially knowing that there might be back and forth with H, and especially not knowing how she plans to bring it up or decides to deal with it considering her pride issue. I texted in the family group that I apologized for not being able to make it today and wished H safe travels. My husband goes without me and apparently H brings up the fact that I didn't come and they all have a talk about it. As I suspected, H is now saying she doesn't think she was rude to me at all and she has no reason to apologize to me. My husband tells her that she's in fact rude and she in fact needs to apologize. H suddenly twists the narrative and talks about how since the day she met me, she has been trying to build a relationship with me but I don't reciprocate. No idea what she is talking about here, since I'm the one who pushes my husband to give her attention, and I'm the one who pushed that instead of getting her generic flowers for her birthday this year, we should pitch in and get her a personal antique item that she would enjoy. Besides, this argument has nothing to do with the main issue. Anyways, long story short, I know I've been petty with not initiating and now going to the dinner, but I think it's a matter of principle. Also, I told my husband that if she doesn't want to reach out and talk, then that's something she is deciding, and I won't try to solve this issue for her. Am I the arsehole here? No, absolutely not the arsehole here, and the right thing to do. Commenter says to OP, you're not the arsehole here. Not going to say goodbye dinner was actually very responsible of you. There had been no contact and no conversation with H. If you went, either there would have been a confrontation or you'd have been made to feel even worse by H and a narcissistic attitude towards the entire situation. H has left, and you really shouldn't give her any more brain space. She's not worth it. A comment that I thought was quite on the point said, "You need to talk with your husband about how to handle this going forward. Talks are going to do nothing. Resolution is not what she wants. She wants to be able to treat you poorly and have you suck it up. And there is no such thing as keep the peace with a person like this. I know, I have 3 in my family I'm now low contact or no contact with after setting boundaries and having them blown. This is a big deal and will affect your relationship with your husband and his family from now on. You will be the villain. What do you want/need this to be going forward? What does your husband want or need? Are the two of you a unit, and what will that look like? And be prepared for the fallout. People like his sister will manipulate the situation, and it sounds like his family lets her get away with it. If so, what do you and your husband want this to look like going forward? This is a lot, and as someone who's been there, it is. And know that low contact and no contact bring a lot of peace because these people feed on the drama and enable it. Good luck." To which OP responded and said, "I totally agree. I did have a conversation with my husband, and I didn't flat out call his sister a narcissist, but I told him that she shows narcissistic traits, and it's very triggering for me since I cut off my mother because of it. He has subconsciously guilt-tripped me into being the bigger person, because he is so happy that his sister finally likes one of his partners. Lol. And I called him out on it. I told him that her liking me isn't the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is respect. I also told him that the fact that his sister never liked any of his partners, and now with the only one she actually likes, she is causing issues. It's telling of she is the problem." I think the majority of people on the back of this one says some boundaries do need to be in place on this one, and that needs to be with both you and the husband as well. You both agreeing to stick to those boundaries because she won't stop. She will feed off the drama like the commenter said, and she will continue down this path. She's not going to apologize, and if she does, it's not really an apology. It's one of those ones, I'm sorry if you feel that way kind of thing. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story is from C Championship 112 and says, "Am I the arsehole for not supporting my girlfriend after she broke our one relationship rule? Me, 25 male, and my girlfriend, 26 female, had agreed early on in our relationship it could be an open relationship. However, to make sure things did not go out of hand, we had 2 rules. 1, no secret relationships. We talk about who we are with each other, and tell the other why we want to be with said person. 2, we will always find our way back to each other after exploring other options." Fast forward to the issue. My girlfriend comes home after what was supposed to be a trip to a cafe and immediately locks herself in our bedroom. When she leaves the bedroom, I try and ask her how her trip went, and she got defensive really fast. I end up apologizing before continuing with dinner, where I find her friend's Instagram. Seeing her with this blonde-haired guy, I ask if anything happened, to which she replied no, and I left it at that. However, a week later, I overheard her friend speak of the same guy and what happened between them in a hotel room. When she returns, I ask her about it, and she admits that she was flirting with him, but nothing more. Oh dear, a little bit of trickle-truthing going on here, I think. She accuses me of spying on her, but I know the signs and know she is lying about something. I see their messages seem to suggest they did even more than simply flirting. I feel like her having this secret is a sign she disregards the rules we made together. Am I just a paranoid arsehole, or is it fair I feel the trust disappearing? Sorry for grammar mistakes, English is my 3rd language. Bloody hell. Commenter says, "Tell her, you've broken the rules of our relationship. I overheard your friends talking about your night in the hotel room with a blonde guy. I hope he was worth it. Then pack a bag, go to a buddy's place, and go no contact with her for a week." Commenter says, "This is called fuck around and find out. You knew the risks of an open relationship and still went down that road. Life goes on." Commenter says, "You have one of the most open and understanding relationships there is, and she still violated it. When you called her out on it, she got upset with you. If you want to be generous, you sit down with her and tell her that the 2 of you need to have a frank and honest talk, and that if she brings the same energy she's bringing, then the relationship is over. If she immediately freaks out, then she'd probably already looking for an excuse to end the relationship, so she can be with this other guy. If she has a calm, rational talk and admits a mistake, then you can maybe move on. I'd bet money that she's ready for this relationship to be over, which is why she's being secretive. Bloody hell, I'm just like the worst person to comment on this because I can't do open relationships. I know they work for some people, and there's always people in the comments saying that they works for them, but I know for myself, I just wouldn't cope at all. But that said, the issue here is clearly the secrecy. They agreed to rules. One of those rules was being honest about who they were seeing and what was happening, and the moment she started getting defensive and hiding things and changing her story, it was over then, right? But OP does update the post and says, I thought it was important for you all to know what happened next. I have been given permission from her to post this. This morning I confronted her about it and said we needed to talk. I wanted to know the story and said I would not get mad no matter what she said. She then opened up about what happened. She said she went to the cafe where she had an interest in the barista, so she asked him to connect. They agreed and decided to get a hotel room nearby. She wanted to message me about this after she was done, so they did not ruin the mood. Without going into detail, it did not go well. She felt degraded and humiliated afterwards, so she wanted to forget about it as quickly as possible. It did not help when she returned to her friends that they wanted to hear about it. Not being able to handle it, she said she needed to be alone, so she locked herself away when she got home. When I mentioned it the next morning, I unknowingly reopened her wounds and she got defensive. We are now working things out together so she does not have to be alone. I thank you for helping me take a breath before rushing into conclusions. Thank you for saving my relationship. But now, I'm going to turn this one straight to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully, I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.